I don't know what part of Michigan you're in, but have you thought about headed out and putting that energy and effort to building like a really beautiful greenhouse where you're vegging indoors?
Yeah, there's one big company here in Michigan that is lobbying against the caregivers, and they're unfortunately doing pretty good at it. And a lot of the caregivers and the current patients are definitely not for it. So I've had many plants enter and exit the garden, and that one's always stayed. And it's a very, very expressive grapefruit terpene with like some earthy.
Grapefruit?
Yeah, like grapefruit. A lot of people are like, why haven't you tried autos? Why haven't you tried autos? Because I can't do what I do. Yeah. I can't clone it. I can't keep it around for a set amount of years. Like, I can't do what I want to do with it.
Have you ever thought about the energy of the grower that's growing your medicine? Well, in this video, we're going to get into it. You're here with Green Goblin 510, Mark Boutwell, and the rest of the team here on Perfect Gardens TV. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and make sure to check us out on Instagram and Facebook. If you haven't heard about our $2.99 membership, the join button is down below. If you need a little more one-on-one, the VIP link is down below in the description. Let's go ahead and get in the video, guys.
Make sure to hit the join button on the bottom of every video. So it leads into the next question: is your training methods, or we're talking about that a little earlier. What are your, maybe not training, but your overall growing or training methods in a garden?
Well, like I was mentioning earlier, if it's a new cultivar to me, I'll usually just let it go do its own thing. And if it likes to grow in a Christmas tree shape or this shape or whatever shape, I'm like, okay, I know what it likes to do, and I can. Maybe I'll do a monster cropping or some low stress training on the next go around to get it to more fill out the canopy area and more support itself, depending on how that plant structure is. But normally that's all I really do is maybe some low stress training, maybe a little monster cropping or a pinching of the stems and folding them over. Other than that, I don't do a whole lot. Support them with some bamboo.
That's what I like. And especially nowadays, everyone's like, scrog or go home. I'm just like, well, like these techniques are not for everybody,
Yeah, to be frank, and I got 3 4x8 areas. I'm not scrogging all of those.
I mean, right. And if it makes sense in your application, and obviously, it helps create, deeper light penetration, potentially more buds and more flowers. And I'm on the same way. I like LST a lot. I find so much benefits in just a little wire, and the next day that shoots way out, and it does itself for the rest of the whole grow. I just had to give it that little extra help. Yeah. I see this scrogging, and we talk about sustainability and stuff. A lot of these nylons, they're just cutting them out, they're throwing them away. And I'm talking in commercial scales, they're dumpsters full of this stuff. And then you can say, well, then you can do cloth or hemp. Well, then they say, well, that holds bacteria and moisture and mildew. We can't do that. So it's like, I like that type of allowing the plant to express itself. It's minimum effort. It's good on the back. You're not watering down and stuff like that. So there's positives on all ends of it.
Oh yeah. I mean, I guess the only other training method I could say I use is a little bit of lollipopping, cleaning up the bottoms and making sure there's no excess branches.
You ever do like chiropractic on them?
Little.
Yeah. I find that helps a lot. So.
I do that sometimes, especially if like one branch is shooting up way further than the other. I'll just lean that one over. The next couple of days, everything's evened out.
Yeah.
So any future projects or goals that are on your horizon?
Eventually, I plan on changing all my 4x8 spaces in my flower room to having all beds.
Mm.
Oh, nice.
How deep?
That's gonna be cool.
Hopefully, I'm going to get like a 4x8 bed, a couple feet deep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's really cool. So
are you gonna do regen in there?
Yeah. And that way, because right now, just like I was mentioning earlier, I'm taking away stuff. And right now I have a process where I'm up potting too many times.
Mm-hmm.
As an efficiency standpoint, the plant don't care, but as an efficiency standpoint, I'm up potting too many times. I'd much rather go from like a 3-gallon right into a bed and flower.
What state are you in?
Michigan.
I know it gets down to negative degrees in Michigan, so everyone that I'm going to say this to is going to be like, you're stupid, Mark. But if you dive in deep in this, or you just go out to Michigan and go actually with two people that have beautiful greenhouses out there, they can go year round out there and with supplemental light and other stuff. I don't know what part of Michigan you're in, but have you thought about headed out and putting that energy and effort to building like a really beautiful greenhouse where you're vegging indoors, and then because of your light, and if you take advantage of the outdoor light plus some supplemental and control the obviously the heat and other stuff, have you thought about spending more time to doing outdoor in Michigan?
Oh, absolutely. The only unfortunate part is where the location I'm currently at is like a township location and like red tape all over. So I would have to set up a greenhouse in another location than where I'm currently at.
Got it.
But I definitely intend to do that. Got it.
Okay. Completely understand. So there are parts of Michigan that are still like have no interest in growing this plant.
Yeah, a couple of specific counties that they're like, we don't want that. And unfortunately, it's to the point where Michigan's like, well, you can say that county, but then you don't get any of the tax monies. So the state and counties are kind of fighting right now.
Well, isn't Michigan, from my understanding, aren't they currently trying to reverse the patient?
Yeah, there's a lot of, they're trying to come after the caregiver.
Right, the caregiver program. Sorry, yeah. Mm-hmm. They're trying to like just wipe that away from now and send it all back to the corporate growing and dispensaries and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's one big company here in Michigan that is lobbying against the caregivers, and they're unfortunately doing pretty good at it. And a lot of the caregivers and the current patients are definitely not for it. So at least Michigan is still listening to that. But yeah, they don't want people to be able to grow decent medicine at their homes. They would rather be able to go out and buy $100.
Well, you look at a grow like yourself. If anyone that's watched you're very clean, you're methodical in your practices, and like, where are you going to find that medicine in 99% of any dispensary across the United States? Like, I don't care about THC quantity. I'm talking about quality, and there's thoughtfulness. There's your heart's put into it. You think about these processes. You're connected with nature, and like, people, wake up. Like, don't let these corporate people tell you what you want to smoke, because half that shit, boof.
I had a buddy explain it to me really well. All the dispensary flower and whatnot, that's like getting the extremely watered down Bud Light.
Right.
And then when you go to a Compassion Club caregiver or grower that specifically, you're getting the craft beers that are down the street that got brewed 2 weeks ago, and it's the micro craft brewery that has their shit on point. That's a perfect example. We got craft growers and craft breweries.
Yeah, your methodology and just your whole thought process in general just makes me curious on what your stuff tastes like and what your stuff looks like and what your stuff, how it grows and how it smells and just the overall health of the plant. Like, and as I don't know how everyone else feels, but after the first 6 months and the feeling isn't as
new.
Yeah, exactly. After using the plant, but obviously we still partake because there is still joy in the experience. After you spend another 10 years with the plant or 15 years, for me, I get really curious. I'm like, how does this, this person's out in the hills, in the mountains, how are they growing it? So I want to travel out there for 4 or 5 hours of my life, and I need a 4x4 truck to go up there. So I have to
get there. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, make sure I have extra gas and know where the fuck I'm going, just to see how he's doing it, and just, whatever, but go hang out, have a beer too. But it's just, and the way you do it makes me curious. So I'm looking forward to maybe shaking your hand one day and trying out some of your product.
I'd be an honor.
Yeah, no, vice versa, would be honored to allow me to try some of your material. What are your favorite strains so I can know what to ask for?
A lot of like my favorite strains are a mixture of things. So like the one that I've held on to the longest is called Blue Grape, and I've had that one for around 12 years or so.
Oh wow!
So like I've had many plants enter and exit the garden, and that one's always stayed. And it's a very, very expressive grapefruit terpene with like some earthy,
grapefruit.
Yeah, like grapefruit.
Oh wow!
And then like gassy earth background.
I like that. I'm an earth guy, man. I love those earth out mossy ones and shit. Like, I don't know why. It just, even the smell, it just electrifies my connections in my brain. It just makes me think of things and feel things, you know? It's just like,
absolutely.
I love it.
Like if I smoke it and it reminds me of taking a walk in the forest.
Right.
That's what's up.
Yep, that's exactly how I am. You know, I'm like, there's the one. And then I talk to other people and like, what do you mean? I'm like,
it's like that breath of life you get when you're out around in the woods. It's like life is coming.
Yeah, it really just cool. Sparks your imagination and feelings and emotions.
How do you keep it alive? Through seed or through clone?
Clone.
Oh, so 12 years through clone.
Damn, wow. That's awesome. That's cool.
I received it as a cutting and kept it as a cutting.
Yeah, so a lot of people talk about like degradation of the genes.
No, I tell people this all the time.
So what bullshit. Is your experience with it?
It's bullshit. Yeah. It's bullshit.
It's bullshit. If your cutting took a degradation, that means it got sick.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I completely agree with you 100%. The mushroom farm, same thing. We and this might sound so stupid, everyone might say whatever, but we paid $1,000 for each clone, and we only got 6, and we got 6 unrooted clones from the original cookie strain from the grower himself, right? And this was way back. This was a long time ago, and only 2 of them rooted. By the time we got busted, there was about 10,000, maybe 11,000 clones of that plant from 2. You know what I mean? And it's like, no way there's fucking segregation. And I tell people this over and over and over. It's like, keep a healthy environment, keep the plant healthy. You're going to be just fine. And people are still saying that in 12 years, that's amazing. Ours is like a year and a half, 2 years, you guys, if we're able to get to those numbers real quick. So 12 years, that's amazing. That's like a whole nother level.
Well, like Goblin said, the health of the plant, like a lot of people, it's like, the idea of moms are there, but then they end up in corners and dim lit things, and the attention to detail and care and nourishing aspect that you have with all your other parts of your garden kind of, I think, come, away. And you actually have a mother room, right? You actually have an area dedicated to that. So you're involved in them all the time. It's not just like, oh, I need a clone today. It just, no, like, hey, you need to be up potted. I can see it. You need more soil, more roots. Like, let me provide that for you. And hence you get 12 years. Yes. 12 years of clones. That's awesome.
And it comes down to the plant's immune system.
Right.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
Keep it healthy the whole time. Then that metabolism is able to stay at the ready each time.
And keep going and going. And then, and the sad thing is like, even when people have cuttings that may have gotten sick, a lot of times you can get that remedied by doing micropropagation, which would be, propagating under a laminar flow hood and an agar medium. And what that allows you to do is it allows the plant to grow faster than the bacteria and or virus. And you can isolate the cells of that plant and transfer it to a new agar and keep doing that until you get 100% clean sample and you're back to 100%
You're talking about
healthy
plant tissue culture. Okay, so you do plant tissue culture as well?
I would love to get into it.
Okay, got it. If
I haven't needed to do it so far, but I'd love to.
Are you prepared for the process? Everything I've seen is extremely sanitized, and I watched one method. It was like a lab in India or something that are doing it, and I was just like, holy cow.
Yeah, you got to follow 100% sterile working procedure, just like if you were growing mushrooms. Like
right.
If you're familiar with sterile technique of growing mushrooms, you'd be definitely like 5 steps ahead for.
It's one of those things I think are amping up. I see a few commercial sites that are starting to do that now. I mean, just the room alone that it takes up is 90% less than having all these clones, and they have little vials.
Oh, absolutely. Like that's my main goal, is to get a laminar flow hood next, and to be able to do plant tissue cultures, store a lot of my different cultivars in the refrigerator, for years to come, and then pull it out when I need to.
I used to have kits, and now they pull them because they realized how much people could. I don't know. I at least saw them like 2 years ago. They were like culture kits that you can do it yourself.
Well, that's actually
they pulled it, but
that's what I was going to bring up right here. I can't remember his name. I've known him for 10 years, but you don't talk to someone. Sometimes you just forget the name. But he made the product Fresh Filters. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Okay, yeah.
Do you know who the specific person I'm talking about?
No, I don't. I know the fresh filters though.
Okay, so there's like we're talking about earlier, the guy that makes products in the industry that sells them to Sunlight or whatever. He's one of those guys. So he's made a number of different products he sold them to the brand names as they were developing up. But he also made a tissue culture kit, and he is the tissue culture guy in the industry. And he does classes, all this other stuff. I'll try to, if I remember his name and number, I'll text it over to you. Really nice guy. He's out in, I think he's in San Jose or San Francisco. He's been in the industry for 15 years. So yeah, especially if you want to get into it, he'd be the guy because he's sterilized. I know, I've been in his house. I've seen all of his tissue culture kits and all of his tissue culture going. His house is full of them. You know, it's like, you know, someone makes a product, but you go to his house or you go somewhere and his product isn't even in there. Even if it's like a coffee filter, he buys the other guy's brand. You know what I mean? His whole house is full of tissue cultures from his kit. So it's been at least 4 years since I've talked to him, but one of the nicest guys I know in the industry.
And just like even the method of if you're giving it to somebody, like how much disease, bugs, and pests from clones, you know, people giving away clones and bringing in so much different stuff. And then you can maybe potentially have a nice clean vial or, you know, to produce that cultivar, you know. I love it. I just don't know if I ever want to put the work in it.
That's definitely like a good thing, especially like on the more commercial front, like we were talking about earlier. Like a lot of commercial entities, they don't want to pull in clones from other places because of said dangers. And if you go, hey, you can buy this micro propagated clone, this tissue culture clone for X amount of dollar, guaranteed it has nothing wrong with it, but you're going to have to spend 2 months growing it out so you could clone off of it.
Yeah.
That it might be highly valuable to a lot of commercial places.
For sure. I mean, look at what they have in, you know, half these, you know, in terms of they don't have like certain insurances and stuff like other farming practices have and stuff like that. And, you know, some of these, you know, mold pathogens, bug, I mean, they could be detrimental to these grows, you know, and that's why they, you know, they have to be thoughtful in those procedures. And same thing with the home grower, you know, like if your friend's tent is like mud everywhere and water stains and a pizza box next to it, like don't get his clones. Like there's probably going to be some issues, you know, like
absolutely,
pepperoni
terps, hot dog terps.
Any other strains besides that one that you're keeping around for 12 years?
The second one that I've been keeping around the longest is the black cherry cheesecake.
How long for that one?
That one about 5 years or so.
And the third one?
The third one would be probably a more recent addition, and that would be the Space Center.
Wow! So you've really have now taken this beyond just doing it one time to actually create a practice around it in your growing practice. That's very interesting.
This is why, like, a lot of people are like, why haven't you tried autos? Why haven't you tried autos? Because I can't do what I do. Yeah. I can't clone it. I can't keep it around for a set amount of years. Like I can't do what I want to do with it. Now, are they great tools? They're great tools, especially for people who live in northern climates. They get 6 months of light per year and this. Oh, absolutely. Like they're great tools. They're not a tool for me.
Absolutely. It's all dependent upon the application of the grower or his environment, how to maximize his end production. Completely agree. Brother, what's your first name? John. Okay. Everyone calls you Green Goblin. So I'm like, you know, like the other guys, I ask them, some guys don't even give their name. So I'm just like, okay, no problem. I won't even.
Yeah. I have no qualms of giving my real name. Like I'm out there on the internet. I'm John. I live out here in Michigan and grow medicinal plants.
Where can everyone find you?
About it.
Yeah. Where can people find you?
Green Goblin, everywhere. Twitch, Green Goblin 510 on Twitch, YouTube. Unfortunately, my Instagram did get taken, so it's Green Goblin 510.4.
Oh,
bro, thank you so much for your time today, man. I hope that maybe we can do a little more content in the future and circle back absolutely. In a few months or sooner than that. Would that be okay?
No, absolutely. I'm definitely down.
I'm still gonna call you Green Goblin if you don't mind.
Yeah,
it just flows for me. Like, what up, Green? You know.
Yeah, people either go Green Goblin, GG.
GG. Okay.
If they know me, they'll use my name.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
we appreciate you, man. Your
Nice to formally meet you.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
it
Nice to
really
meet you out.
was. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. I'm glad Hayes was able to coordinate this. And
Oh, I was glad you reached out, because I'm like, one of these times I got to get on there and talk with Mark and everybody on the Perfect Garden, because honestly, I watch your channel and you got a lot of great information, and you break it down like how I like to break it down.
100%. Especially, I highly recommend people to go check out your channel, because our conversation, you're such a more conscious thinker. So it makes me recalibrate my own standards. And I like to have people like that in my life. And then second, you're kind of pressing new ground around amendments. Like, how much do you actually need to use? So you're looking at, obviously we talked about this with Adam, right? It's when there's a molecular structure within the dry amendments that like you're getting a lot of space in the dry amendment. So there's actually only a certain amount of molecular structure. So when you break it down to a milligram ratio, that makes a lot of sense of what you said. And you're kind of breaking it down time. Like, yeah, I'm talking about the actual composition, right, where it says like, if it is langanite, it's like 60% potash or something like that, if I remember right. But it's 60% of every 1 gram is potash. You know what I mean? So it's actually 0.6 whatever grams, 0.6
660 milligrams.
Exactly, 660 milligrams of langanite that's going in. And so it makes me start to think a little bit more about wanting to relook of the amount of amendments we're putting in. But like I said, you're really pressing new ground around vegan thought process. What you said, a certain name, I never heard of it.
I just like, instead of calling it like veganics, I like to just grow green.
Grow green. Yeah, you're pressing that new area around staying away from the blood meal, bone meal, these other things, and you're using a lighter NPKs. And I think
under like the natural farming umbrella.
Yeah. And I think people should really follow you, especially if they are interested in that thought process, to help shorten their learning curve.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Come on by. I like to do different Jadam and KNF videos, and then you can check out my different garden updates and see how everything's working.
It's a beautiful garden. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate you, brother. You want to share anything else with the channel before we disconnect?
No. Thanks for shooting out the invite and allowing me to come on and talk with you guys. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, if there's anything you want me to share or anything you want to get on the channel and share with my audience, just hit me up, man. I really love your thought process and your value system, how you're doing this, and it'd be nice to echo anything you need us to echo out to the community.
Oh, absolutely. I guess I do have, if people do want to try out a little bit of the Jadam Wedding Agent, if they head over to my website, greengoblin510.com, they can pick up a small little 16-ounce bottle that will last a decent amount of time if you're growing in just a 4x4.
I love that. All right, brother. Have a great day. Well, guys, only on Perfect Gardens TV. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe.
So, for example, we can't use Serenade. Serenade is a Bacillus pumilus, because if we did, I think that would end up failing one of our microbials. So it's not approved for Canada, where I believe in California you are allowed to use Bacillus pumilus.